welcome to the first episode of our new podcast series, Welcome to Helsingborg. This series is a project by Helsingborg International Connections, and it's aimed at international people living in Helsingborg. We've been wanting to try out a podcast in English, so thank you very much to the Vision Fund for liking our idea and giving us their support. This is a completely new venture for us, so we're crossing our fingers and holding our thumbs to make sure it all goes well. My name's Sally Russell, and I'm one of the co-founders of HIC. Over the next few months, I'll be chatting with people living or working in Helsingborg. We want to get behind the scenes and help the international community learn more about their city. It's very easy to miss things when you're not a native Swedish speaker, and we hope that by showcasing different aspects of Helsingborg, you'll gain a deeper understanding of how the city functions, pick up some interesting tips, and be inspired to explore. To explain what HIC is, it's short for Helsingborg International Connections, and it's an independent organisation which supports international residents living in this area. We offer a warm welcome to new arrivals and make it easier for them to settle into their new environment. We do this by organising English-speaking events, sharing information and running drop-in sessions where people can ask us questions about living, working and studying in Helsingborg. HIC is also a ready-made network which helps internationals make social and professional connections as soon as they arrive, so they can really hit the ground running. HIC started out as a voluntary initiative in 2013, and since 2017 we've been partners with the local municipality. Our work really complements their drive to attract and retain international talent, and we collaborate closely with the Department of Trade and Industry. We also work closely with Campus Helsingborg, which is part of Lund University. We run social, professional and informative events at different times to fit in with people's busy lives. At the time of recording, all our events and drop-in sessions are online because of the pandemic. Like everyone else, we've had to think creatively and adapt to a new situation. We've also actually had to change our plans for recording these episodes, so the interviews are currently being held over Zoom. We really hope you'll find the podcast series useful, whether you've just arrived or whether you've lived here for years. You might be thinking about moving here and want to know more about the city. Or you might be a Swedish person who's been living abroad for a long time and find that things have changed. Whatever your situation, we'd love to have your feedback and hear what interests you most. If you'd like to find out more about HIC, you can look up our website, which is at www.hiconnections.eu. You'll find lots of helpful links and details of all our events, as well as pages for international students, job seekers and employers. We've also added pages about COVID-19 regulations in Sweden and about Brexit. You'll also find us on social media, so on Facebook and LinkedIn we're at Helsingborg International Connections and on Instagram at HI Connections. To tell you a little bit about myself, I'm from the UK and moved here in 2008. We'd originally planned to live in Lund. We couldn't find anywhere to live, so we ended up in Helsingborg because there was an international school here. We love living in Helsingborg because there's so much to offer in a city that's just the right size. It's not too big, it's not too small. There's a busy working port and a car and passenger ferry which goes across to Denmark in just 18 minutes. It's also very easy to get to Copenhagen Airport by train or road, so the transport links are excellent. The sea is a big feature in Helsingborg and comes right up to the city centre. We've even got a tropical beach, would you believe, with new palm trees planted up every summer. The views along the coast are spectacular, and we see some incredible sunsets. There are great facilities next to the seafront, with plenty of opportunities for exercise or leisure. Away from the coast, there are forests and open space to explore, with lots of local food producers to visit. The town centre itself is very quaint and cosy, with a medieval tower and church which are perfect for photo opportunities. As well as being an attractive city, Helsingborg is also an ambitious one, with a passion for innovation and entrepreneurship. It's also been named Sweden's most environmentally friendly municipality for 4 years in a row, and in 2020 the city came joint second in the European Capital of Innovation Awards. We'll be hearing more about that later in the series, so do stay tuned for some great insights. HIC started life in 2013 and was the result of a kitchen table conference with my friend and co-founder, Jenny Wieslander. We took a trip down memory lane to think back to those early days and to explain why we believed so strongly in the need for a network like HIC. We hope you enjoy listening to our conversation. Jenny, how are you? Great to catch up with you.
Yeah, I'm all right, thanks. And thanks a lot for inviting me to your brand new podcast.
I know, it's quite exciting, isn't it? I must admit, I've never actually done anything like this before, so it's all a learning curve, and we hope for the best. It's a shame we can't use the podcast studios we'd originally planned to, so we're doing these recordings over Zoom, and we just hope it all works out okay.
Yeah.
So I've been thinking back to when we started HIC, which was in 2013 when we first got together, wasn't it? It was very much a kitchen table conference. I think that's what you've always called it, haven't you? Because I remember, you suggested originally that there was a need for a network like this, and it was really good to sit down and just brainstorm that afternoon and come up with some ideas and figure out exactly what it was that we wanted to do.
Yeah.
I've often referred to the fact when I'm giving presentations about HIC that you saw the need for a place where international people could come together and that perhaps we could try and build something together. What was it that prompted that in the first place, do you think?
Yeah, thanks for asking. I think, as often found by expats returning to their home country, I found myself, although I'm Swedish, completely lost in translation, in spite of knowing the local language. Also lacked local knowledge and a network of like-minded people, something I realized my foreign friends at the international school in Helsingborg already had. And it also soon became clear that the majority of internationals here wished they had more knowledge of what was going on in Helsingborg. So I guess in order to help build bridges between the international community and all that the city of Helsingborg has to offer, we decided, you and I, to set up an on and offline network open to everyone with an international mindset. Prior to co-creating HIC, I had experienced the possibilities with an online platform combined with real life experiences. And yeah, I suppose this had something to do with how we set HIC up.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that sitting down together and working on a mind map of what we wanted and didn't want HIC to be was really valuable too. Do you think that was the right thing to do at the right time?
I think it became clear that both of us wanted to make sure that the network was inclusive and that everyone with an international mindset was welcome. And that proved quite successful if you don't if you don't disagree. We have had so many people turning up from all sorts of backgrounds with all sorts of different languages, and it's wonderful really to see.
Yeah, definitely. And I know that you lived in a lot of different countries before you moved back to Sweden. Can you tell us something about your experiences as an expat in different countries?
Yeah, I'm happy to do so. As a Swedish citizen living in countries and working in countries like Canada, Pakistan, UK, Ireland, Spain, and more, I've always felt welcome by the local and international communities. I've made sure to get involved as much as possible with local activities, which have helped me to form friendships and later employment opportunities. I've been open to adjust my career to find work, may it be part of full time, permanent, or temporary. And I think that an open mindset really helps most people, and especially coming to Sweden, which is not the usual challenge for most expats.
We've talked about this before, haven't we? That, you come to Sweden and it's a country where really everything is available. The infrastructure's excellent, it's a very transparent country, all the systems are in place. And in many ways, there shouldn't be any difficulties about moving to a country that's as well developed as this. But I think because everything is so well set up, there's perhaps an assumption on behalf of employers and sometimes even on behalf of Swedish partners of international people coming here that it'll just be an easy job to, come here, settle in, you follow the process, you get your personnummer, you open a bank account, start Swedish language lessons. whatever you need to do, there are recognised steps to follow, but it's not always that easy then to crack the Swedish code as we talk about. So that's where we hope the HIC will come in, and that by coming to our events, listening to our guest speakers and learning a bit more about cultural norms, that's how people will make their way in and how they'll fit in with society. And I think we all need to make adjustments when we move to another country, don't we? So learning perhaps how and where and when you need to make those adjustments, perhaps that's one of the difficult parts. I think that for someone like me, say, coming from the UK, it doesn't really look as if we're coming to a country that's significantly different. So you would expect, therefore, that everything's going to be pretty straightforward. And in many ways it is, but people have a different way of socialising perhaps, or behaving in and out of work. You don't have the let's go to the pub mentality that you tend to get in the UK, at least when I was working there. And perhaps it's a little bit harder.
Yeah.
I think that one of the other things that's also noticeable is that because Swedish couples do split their chores in a way that's a lot more equal than in other countries, you do tend to find that it's not unusual for someone to say, it's my turn to organise the washing tonight because they've got the slot booked in their apartment building. And if they miss that, it'll take a few days to be able to do it again. Or Swedes are also really good at exercising or being involved in organisations. So they often have commitments like that to attend to. So making those slightly more spontaneous meetings, I think, is a little bit harder.
Yeah. And most of the time people could just turn up, really. Not knowing Swedish shouldn't be an obstacle because most Swedes have a fairly good level of English. So I think just turning up and being there, being proactive, it always helps.
So it's definitely fair to say that HIC has grown over the years. We've now got over 2,100 likes on Facebook, and we've met literally hundreds of people since we started. What would you say are the biggest differences for the international community in Helsingborg since those early days?
Yeah, it's quite reassuring, isn't it? Because I think that I would say that there's a much greater chance of receiving a warm welcome to Sweden and Helsingborg. And via our platform, via HIC, there's easy access to information in English before, during, and after a move to Helsingborg. There's also an international English-speaking community and a platform via regular on and normally offline meetings. Just having access to an events calendar to plan ahead, I think that really helps the settling in period, knowing what to do and when to do it once everything else is sorted. There's also information on the Helsingborg Stad website to be found about HIC, as well as information about the Lund University support for international students and Region Skåne website and, information meetings, which you're taking care of, in spite of everything going on. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that generally, just for example, looking at how the international school has grown here, it shows what an international community we have. A lot of people don't realise that around 10% of the population of Helsingborg are foreign-born.
Yeah.
And if you look at, say, how many people have at least one or more foreign-born parent, that goes up to about 42%. So it's a surprisingly cosmopolitan area. And as you say, you mentioned the international master's students here, all the lovely international students we meet from Campus Helsingborg, the offshoot of Lund University. It's wonderful when we meet them every year in August. We give a presentation to them at the town hall. We've got these lovely Gothic surroundings. The architecture is fantastic. Beautiful stained glass windows telling the history of Helsingborg. So it's a great place to meet them all. And we talk to them about HIC. And they also have presentations from the commune as well. So it's been a real eye-opener, really, to realise that those students aren't just from the Nordics or Europe, as you might imagine, but literally from all over the world.
Yeah.
So that's really gratifying and interesting to see just how many nationalities we've got here in Helsingborg.
Yeah.
I mentioned the international school. I mean, not only have we got the International School of Helsingborg, which is an IB school, We've also got the International English School now, which teaches part in Swedish and part English. And there's another school in the process of opening as well. So, from that point of view, I feel that Helsingborg has grown a lot. And I think the municipality makes more effort to try and incorporate all the different languages into all their communications too.
Yeah.
Added to that, of course, we've got quite a few other Facebook groups and websites that have started. So we've got English speakers in Helsingborg. This is Helsingborg, International Women in Helsingborg. In fact, I'll be speaking to people from all those groups later on in the series. So there's definitely a lot going on. And I definitely think that the facilities and resources for international people have grown significantly. So it all adds up to a sense of community. And, I know it's persuading a lot of people who are perhaps considering coming here that there is a lot going on. And they're making the choice to come to Helsingborg specifically because there is an international community. It's ready and waiting. So I think that's great to hear.
Yeah.
We should explain to our listeners that you've been working at a large local company for, 4 years, is it now? And I know you're back to your first love, aren't you? Which is communications.
Yeah.
I think you also mentioned that you're starting to see more people coming to work with you from other countries, aren't you? Or coming perhaps for work experience. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Certainly, many high-skilled, both engineers and people working in various projects are recruited within the commune, Helsingborg Stad, to contribute and to find their way into the work life here. It's really important, and there's a lot of good work happening. Well, for those interested in knowing more, search for hållbarhetsredovisning or sustainability report at öresundskraft.se.
Oh, that's great to hear. Oh, thank you, Jenny. Yeah. Okay, so one last question for you. Is there anything you'd like to see HIC doing in the future?
Oh, there's a lot. I really can't wait for those real life events to start taking place again. I'm sure I'm not alone in this. And apart from that, to see more global citizens find their way to Helsingborg and for them to discover all that this exciting city has to offer.
Yeah, oh, that's great. Well, thank you, Jenny. I know you're always there, always keeping an eye on what's going on, what's happening, and an interested eye. So it's always great to be able to turn to you and bounce ideas off you as well, or ask a bit of advice from time to time. So thank you for that. Okay, well, thanks again for today, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah, take care. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
All right then. Yep, bye for now. Thanks for listening today. We hope you enjoyed this first episode. Next time, we'll be finding out about the Contact Centre and how they help the residents of Helsingborg. We really hope you can join us then. Until then, stay well